So today I'm going to walk you through the entire process of capturing a little cinematic sequence step by step, and then towards the end of the video I'm going to show you what our complete sequence actually looks like once we've done some basic editing and a couple little nice techniques. This is my new mobile YouTube studio, film studio, and home. This is the van that I built a little while ago out here in Europe, and we're gonna be living in it and traveling around and shooting some awesome content. That's a video for a later on topic though. Let's get into our little cinematic scene right now. Let's quickly touch on basic settings. I'm gonna shoot everything at 24 frames per second. Unless I know I wanna use that clip for slow motion, I'll shoot at a higher frame rate. I'm gonna keep my shutter speed at the 180-degree shutter angle, which is 1 over double my frame rate, 1 over 50. ISO as low as possible to prevent noise, and I'm gonna keep my lens for the most part at its lowest f-stop so I can get that nice blurry background. Keeping your basic framing aligned with this grid right here is a really nice way to just ensure you capturing visually pleasing shots. It's not a hard rule, but the rule of thirds grid will help you when you're trying to align different shots. You can look out for keeping your horizon on the thirds line. You can keep your eye line of your subject on that top line, or any interesting points of your composition on those other lines, kind of like this. And the thing is that it doesn't even really matter what your perspective or angle is, that rule of thirds still applies. I want to capture a few different shots of my environment just to give the feeling of what that space actually is like. So it's also a really nice way that you can introduce some movement into your otherwise mostly static shots, because I'm filming this on my own. And these cutaway shots can be spliced in where we want them throughout the video. Really beautiful. Do your absolute best to plan an idea of what your little video or sequence is actually about. It's far easier to capture something if you have an idea of what you're doing in that video, kind of rather than just existing in that space and trying to get shots of you kind of like standing in places or whatever. But having just a basic idea of what you actually want to film will go a long way when it comes to your creativity and what you actually have to work with. The other thing I always like to try and do, as well as thinking of a rough idea of some of the things you want to be doing for the actions, is just to come up with a couple of basic shot ideas. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but having a few locked in your brain will really go a long way, especially if you can think of just 1 or 2 kind of unique creative shots that you can sprinkle into your scene, which I'm going to get to in a little minute. For now, I want to capture just kind of an establishing shot of the van in the forest, along with some of our cutaways. It will give the viewer a good idea of where we actually are and what's kind of going on in our environment. One of the easiest ways that I like to make shots look better is by introducing foreground, and I can use some of this foreground right here and get kind of a nice like wide establishing shot. I think that's looking pretty cool for an establishing shot. Up until this point, I haven't really been in any of the shots, but now I am gonna be, so we're gonna have to whip out this tripod because we are filming the shots of ourselves, and a tripod is gonna be our absolute best friend. Let's get this little opening one, and I'm gonna try and keep my perspectives changing, so I might go something like kind of nice and low for this one, keeping our last shot in mind, which was from that side. So we could be down here like this, and then kind of open the door, get out. I just want to get 1 or 2 quick little backup shots that are of like some details. Let's get one close up, and something I'll often do is jump between close-ups and wides on each of the little sections. Nothing crazy. Just gonna go. When it comes to kind of capturing a little creative scene, something I'll try and do is film 3 main shots of that particular action that I'm performing, or of the little scene that you have in mind. This is a really awesome way to ensure that not only you get enough coverage, but you have enough shot variety to cut between them later on. So the way I'm going to do this is by getting a wide, a medium, and a close-up, performing the same kind of actions. First up's going to be our wide of me standing at the van. We did kind of get this in our establishing shot already, but getting another one of me actually being there and starting to do stuff with the coffee will be nice and helpful. So I'm going to get in this bush a little bit, and what I like to do with this is I'll perform the whole action for each shot, and later on I can choose where I want to cut between on those different shots. This is my medium, and it's going to be a creative shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to perform the same action that I did before, and I'm going to try and keep this perfectly centered. I'm also just going to get a different shot of me kind of screwing the thing on, and this is just giving me nice kind of shot options. And I'll follow through by putting it on here and hitting this button. I'm going to do the round of the gas cooker in the center as it ignites. Will be the second of the 3. The third part that I want to get to this little 3-shot sequence is close-ups. So this isn't exactly the close-up I want, but while I wait for the coffee to boil, it's a good opportunity to take advantage of. So I'm just going to look out for anything that's like cool details. And another way that I like to think about this wide, medium, close is kind of establishing subject to object and detail or texture. So that's like wide, medium, close. So we got like establishing, we got the van and me being out here. Our medium is the subject of me kind of like making the coffee, and our details will be a few different options. One of them being just a really nice tight shot of the gas and the little flame there. We're gonna get our third other shot of the top down center framing of actually pouring the coffee into the cup. Get a little pouring action. Coffee pouring into the cup is the perfect type of texture shot with nice little movement and details. And then pretty simple, I'll just get another shot of pouring. Okay, I want to get a couple of cool shots of me actually kind of drinking the coffee, enjoying it, being in the scene, and then we have one more little scene that we're going to do to kind of be our ending. So I think what I'm going to do is there's this pathway in front of the car down there, and to kind of create a nice creative shot that's showing that we are kind of in a van but we're in the woods and we're enjoying our coffee. I think a cool way would be to shoot through the windscreen and kind of frame our shot of the windscreen of me being down that path. So I am going to frame it up where I think I'll shoot through this little window I have in the back of the van, because it's going to give me a bit more reach, and because I kind of want to compress that shot a bit, I'm going to try zoom in, look past the windscreen and the dashboard, and then I'm just going to kind of be down there, and I think it will look quite nice. I'm going to go stand down there. Okay, we're changing scenes and we're going to get a bit of our ending kind of like change location scene. So what we're going to do here is, because we've been going quite slow and it's been like quite peaceful and relaxing, we're going to do a really quick little fast cut scene and then end on like a nice slow one again. So the first thing I'm going to do is just get a shot of me closing this door and getting into the car. These are going to be lots of quick shots. Quick getting in the car shot. I'm going to take this as an opportunity to get a bit of a unique angle or perspective. So I'm going to take this off the tripod, and to go with our wider shot of me coming to grab the handle, I'm going to get this super weird shot from underneath like this, just putting my camera like flat on the floor. Make sure my focus is right. I think that looks cool. And doing like simple weird shots like that when you can think of them, it really goes a long way. So I always try and look out for them. Being in the car, I'm just gonna swap lenses to this wider 20mm f1.8 so that I can just get a couple of wider shots within here. And one of the shots that I'm actually going to use is this one that I'm doing the behind the scenes on right now, because it looks pretty good. So I'm going to jump in the car one more time and close the door from this angle, and then I can use that in the actual scene. The next thing I'm going to get is a nice close up to go with our fast cuts of just putting the key in the ignition here. And I'm just going to go. Now, I do want to actually just get one shot from outside of the van kind of pulling off. So I'm gonna film that one more, and then we're actually gonna film some shots from in here of driving, and we're gonna kind of end the scene over there. Get a bit of a creative shot here, and I'm gonna use this clamp to attach onto the door handle, and I'll just get a little shot of me like pulling out and then stop. Next shot is gonna be just a super nice tight shot and try and just make the most of having my different focal lengths here. So I'm gonna get a really zoomed in one at 70. That's my max zoom right now. And I'm gonna pull out and just kind of drive past the camera here. And that I think will be quite cool. So we just got a shot here, and then I'm gonna drive past in the van. And then one more kind of driving off into the distance from the other way, we can cut them together. I want to get just a few more shots from within the car of like us driving away and like being in the car. So I'm gonna get one looking through the window here, just with this tripod. And it's really cool with the light coming in, sun shining in through the window. Generally, I don't want to film in the opposite direction than my previous shot, but because the light's looking so cool, I'm gonna make an exception. So I'm just gonna frame it one there, keeping the window in frame as like part of the vibe. Yep, cool. And then I'll get a super zoomed in one. That looks cool. One of the funnest creative shots I like to experiment with is using these like magic arms and clamps, because you can just put them so many cool places. Yeah, that looks really cool. So I've just got the crab claw like that, and I'm just gonna get a simple driving shot. Looking good. Okay, that's gonna be it for all of the footage. If you wanna use the instant color grading preset that I've used on this entire behind the scenes video, as well as the one that I'll use in the final video, it looks like this. It's an instant grade, you don't have to mess around. I use it on almost every single one of my videos, and it works for all different cameras and different scenarios. You can even use it on your mobile phone. Right now, it's on a massive discount, and if you want to pick it up, it's linked down in the description. It comes with a whole set of LUTs, as well as some log to Rec 709 conversion LUTs, so you can take your footage from that raw look to that really nice finished result. But let's take a look at how our actual little B-roll scene ended up looking. Okay, that's gonna be it for this one. Thanks for watching. I'm really looking forward to showing you a bunch more like van content, and having this little mobile studio is so sick. I'll give you a little bit more info and maybe even a little tour in one of the next videos. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.